we'll talk about, give us some highlights from the Bundesliga. It's a total package of the show. So much to talk about. But right now, we'll go to Rwanda. That's where everyone is waiting to see what the Super Eagles can do against Guinea. Cecilia, if you ask me, I'll say they should be defensive. They should be strong defensively because these Guineans love scoring.
Yeah, I think they were actually, the Tunisians were wasteful against the Eagles. If not, they would have won that game. No.
Cecilia, so in essence,
you said it was going to be a draw. Yes, they were lucky.
Okay, I just have to rephrase that for you.
Come on, must you rub it in?
You don't think I said it was going to end a draw?
Yeah, I called
it was going to be a draw.
Yeah.
And of course, you called that.
Could
I
have been
wanted a
worse.
2-1.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at least luckily they had to hold on. Yeah. And of course, the referee also, helped.
You could have been correct. Maybe Tunisia would have won too.
No, the
Hey,
I
wanted it for Nigeria, of course, definitely to just win and get to the quarterfinals without you having to wait to the last game. And some players that you feel are not really good at them can actually, play with, you shuffle with the team. You can actually bring in some new players, test everybody.
But you can't afford to do that.
But you can't afford to do that right now because whatever you do, just be careful about, you have to watch your back. So that's really important. Now, looking at what happened against Tunisians, they really were not that watchful. I mean, luckily the referee gets to, rule out the first goal that was scored. No one was offside and all that. So, and they tried to equalize, and Nigeria, took the lead first. I felt, okay, they were going to hold on. They couldn't just hold on. The Tunisians, they just couldn't stop them at the end of the equalize and all that. So against the Guineans who love scoring, as Austin said, so all they need to do is just to tighten up the back. If you score first, 2 or 3, then you just have to, watch your back.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow. But then the Tunisia match, for me, like I said, it was a very lucky one for Nigeria. We got a break with that missed refereeing decision. But these things happen, they all find a way of balancing out before the end of a competition, or even sometimes in another competition entirely. But then to the game against the Guineans are a very good side. They love to score goals, and that means Nigeria, like you said, have to be strong defensively against this very team. And it'll be very interesting to see what kind of approach Sunday Oliseh takes in this match. As I said at the start of the show, a draw will be good enough for Nigeria to qualify because we have 4 points right now. If you manage to get a draw against Guinea, then you're as good as through into the knockout stage. But you don't want to go into a game going for a draw. Because if you go into a game looking for a draw, you might end up losing it. So that's why I said I'm looking forward to seeing how Oliseh will actually handle this game strategically.
Okay, so and again, it's dicey. We shouldn't start calculating at this point, but you go into that game, you play a draw, and then you get 5 points.
You get 5 points,
and then Tunisia goes on to beat Niger silly.
Yes.
Let's say 3-4-0.
Okay.
And then they top the table.
Yeah, but then you're still through to the knockout round.
You're through to the next round, but you're meeting maybe a stiffer opponent, and you don't wonder. There's this joy, this respect you get.
That's the goal. That's the disallowed goal against there.
I mean, it could have been difficult for any linesman.
No, not at all. That was straight up. It was a clear call. He wasn't over the line. For a ball to be over the line, it has to be the all of the ball over the all of the line. That was very clear. I didn't need a replay.
But I'm just saying.
I
didn't
need a replay to see that. I called it straight away.
If the referee is running with the action, is moving with the game, it's sometimes very difficult.
The referee who flagged it was actually behind the post. He says it wasn't it. I mean, I was looking out like, okay, maybe I didn't see it clearly, but at the end of the day, I felt the guy was robbed because he worked hard to actually clear that ball.
To put the cross in,
pull it up, and at the end of the day,
love the header from Akaichi. But you see, guys, come on, these things happen.
That's
the human element
and that's our
of the
goal,
game.
which I actually love. The way they actually intercepted, in the midfield and all that, take it up, and of course, she saw 4 goals in 2 games.
Okay, we like what's happening with Chisom and Osaso Okoro.
But come on, actually the man of the match in this
we
game.
kept on saying that we have so much quality in this team.
Yes.
Coach Sunday Oliseh shouldn't be scared to be adventurous. You need to make use of your players. We need to see more from Ezekiel Bassi. Cecilia, excuse me. So it's very important. This game, yes, Chisom Chikata, everybody is talking about him and the rest, but some pundits will argue that he could still come up from the bench.
Okay, Austin.
Tunde Adeniji is not playing,
I think his first game wasn't really cool. I didn't like the way he played in the first game. Maybe the coach feels, okay, if they had won the game against Tunisia, I think maybe he would have used those players. That's why I said before, like if you use, if you win your first 2 games convincingly or through to the quarterfinals, then the last game you can afford to tinker with your team. But right now you can't just afford to do that. You still need to play your best leg. Now, if the players you play at the very beginning did not live up to the billings, you wouldn't want to risk them in a game like this.
I said tactically and technically, Chisom Chikatara can still come up from the bench and do something.
Yeah,
You know why we're still saying this well? Because Chisom scored. That's why people are still... He's done his job, no doubt. But at some point, you want to ask yourself, how can you turn things around? You need to have options. You need to look back and say, these Tunisians are locking us up properly. Maybe Prince Agri is not running the right way. Maybe we need to bring into the energy, get some combination. You need to just think about ways you can be more creative with your players.
Austin, right now, what if he had done it and he had maybe removed Prince Agri and Chikatara and bringing the players you're talking about, and Nigeria get to lose the game?
And football works that way.
You be the first,
football works that way.
No, he should have left.
But let me tell you what it does. Let me also tell you what it does. Chisom scores a hat trick, and then we're starting him and letting him know that, look, we're expecting another hat trick from you.
Yes.
So that's pressure right there.
Yeah, but I thought he handled it
well,
really well.
yes.
He took his goal really nicely. Cool finish. Although there was a bit of a deflection.
But it was composed.
But it was a good finish from him. But I get your point. Is the fact that Adeniji or whoever's on the bench think at the start doesn't mean they can't make an impact.
That's right.
They come on.
No doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt. They've been playing as a team. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's good to have options. Why a lot of football fans would prefer Adeniji and Prince Agri is because they play in the same club and they have an understanding. Yes, this team has been together for a while.
Austin,
but I
did you
know.
watch Nigeria's first game?
But do you know? Yeah, sure. But
Okay,
do you
who
know?
started the game?
Of course, brother.
Okay.
Adeniji
Thank you.
No doubt. No
Okay,
doubt.
thank
But
you.
it's
And what happened?
it was the first game and they were
what happened,
nervy
Austin?
and they wanted to
What
just
happened,
impress.
Austin?
We
What's
went
the
on to
possibility?
win. That's what happened.
Thank you.
We won 4-1.
So he made those tactical
Yeah.
changes and we won. So he needed to stick with that same team who gave him 4-1 victory. That's what any coach would do. Not every coach would be like a Louis Van Gaal who would decide to just, pick any player. Hey, you're good. Play in the midfield, you defender, play in the attack and all that.
Yeah.
Some coaches cannot afford to do that. That's just it. So if you have a winning team, you want to stick with it.
But I get Austin. I get what Austin is saying. Austin is saying perhaps Chikatara should still have been the joker for the side. But then Sonny Olise,
I'm happy you're not the one sitting on that
Sonny
bench.
Olise is getting paid all that money, to
Thank
make
you.
big decisions
I
like
am.
that. And to him, he felt Chikatara was a good option, was a better option right from the go, and that's what we got. And he scored a goal. So you can never fault that decision that he made. But back to the Guinean match.
Yeah.
The Guineans, I think it will be very tough.
That's right.
Very tough
It will be. It will be. But let's just let our
Guinea.
viewers see the details of that game. It will be played tomorrow, 3 p.m. Nigerian time. 3 p.m. crucial game for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We have called it the redefining moment for the team. That's it right there. And they're already in Rubavu, landed yesterday, had a training session. The team will be training this morning again and maybe have another one in the evening. All for Guinea. These Guineans, they love scoring, so it means Austin Obarakpo and the likes, Chima Akas, they need to be on top of their game. And
No choice about
the
that.
best way to defend is to what? Attack. So everybody should have it in mind that, yes, while these guys are trying to score us, we also need to outplay them. So we just want to wish the Super Eagles of Nigeria all the best.
Okay, definitely. We'll
We'll
talk
talk
between if he gets to speak with us, we'll definitely talk to him.
That's right.
Because of the program.
That's right.
And we'll still have
Okay.
another day tomorrow.
Yeah,
tomorrow
definitely.
morning, to
We
talk
can also
a
talk
lot
with
more
him.
about this game.
Definitely. Okay, Super 4 right now. I mean,
That's right.
surprisingly, Nassau United, winner of the first half, so to speak. This is second leg. It's definitely going to be February 1st.
Yeah, February 1st in Uyo, and then Aqua United, they can be saying that they can bounce back and then get to be crowned champions right there at the Nest of Champions. It doesn't work that way, but I like the fact that we're already talking about the league. And what about that display by Imba against Warri Wolves? Champion stuff right there. Went out, did the business after losing to Aqua United. They needed to bounce back and they did that. But Nasarawa again making a bold statement that they can continue where they stopped last season. They were giant killers, last season, and then they're also showing that. Just a confirmation of Sunday's results in the Nigeria Professional Football League Super 4 going on. Nasarawa United and Aqua played a goalless draw. Imba defeated Warri Wolves 2-0. But before we go into that, after that, we're expecting the Nigeria Professional Football League proper.
Yeah, definitely.
And the opening day fixtures has been released.
Yeah, that has been released, and if you check some of the newcomers, those are just gaining promotion into the top flight. Well, I think it's baptism of fire. Now for MFM FC, for them, their first game is away at Nasarawa United. That's not good.
MFM played good football when they were at the NNL. A lot of people liking their play to that of Arsenal, touching the ball around and surprising, big opponents. Well, now they're playing top flight football, and everybody think they can just be pushed aside. But I've spoken to some of the players and even the coach Ilechukwu. He says it's a good challenge for them, and I think I like the mentality MFM that is going to come into the league. You know why? They know they have a good structure. Yeah. They're being managed by a church, and they know that they can have people rally around them, give them support.
Fan base and everything.
That's right. That's right. And again, it will almost be impossible to hear that welfare is not top notch. The players are being owed salaries.
I spoke with the manager yesterday when they had a friendly against Inter.